Craig Boath from Carnoustie joins us today. Craig, you're looking after one of the world's premier courses up there, a major venue for, a few opens in the past. You've seen a few yourself. Welcome to Turf Business TV.
Thanks very much for having me.
Well, let's start a little bit about your introduction into turf care. I mean, I think you're a one-club man. What attracted you into the industry to start off with?
It wasn't something I thought of. It was greenkeeping when I was younger. I was more into farming. My family, my mum's side of my family had a farm, which my gran and granddad had, and my uncle took over. And then I like tractors, like getting into farming. I would help my uncle at the weekends and things like that. And unfortunately, he died. And then my mum had said to me, "Look, there's no money in farming. You need to look at something else." And I was about 13, 14, and I played a lot of golf. And one day I saw the Greenkeepers there. They had a tractor, which was quite appealing for me, but they were building a bunker, and it looked really quite nice. They built this bunker, and I kind of wanted to be that, I wanted to get into greenkeeping.
And that was Carnoustie, was it? Were you playing there, or was it somewhere else you were playing?
I was at Carnoustie. Yeah, it was on the budding course. That's where most of the juniors went those days. You started off on the budding, and I played a lot of golf with my dad around about when I was younger. So
did you purposely start looking for a greenkeeping role then, or was it just become fortuitous in your lap kind of thing?
It was more after that. It was the next year at school. You had to look for places to go for work experience, and in those days, unless you went out and got something yourself, you got given a job to go and do work experience at. And it was at Paradise Park, Dundee United football pitch that I was offered. But I'd managed to speak to John Philp, who was the Links superintendent down here. I'd asked him if I could come for a week, and he eventually agreed to letting me come for a week. So I worked here for the week, and then I quite enjoyed it. And I came back again for my Easter holidays and worked through my Easter holidays. And I came back again my October holidays to help out again. And fortunately, I'd managed to badger John that much that he offered me a job the following year. And I left school just straight after my exams, and managed to get a job here.
So that's getting on for 25 years ago now, Craig. You've obviously progressed your career quite considerably in that time. What was it like starting out as an apprentice, shall we call it, or a junior?
Yeah, it was quite hard work. John was quite. He wanted a lot out of you when you were young, and that was the way. That was the Carnoustie way. So yeah, you just had to keep your head down and get on with the work. That was the way to impress down here. If you could do the work, then you could be taken out. I was a youth trainee. It was only a 2-year contract. I had to prove my worth, and fortunately I did that. I managed to get an apprenticeship out of that after my 2 years, and that was another 2-year stint. But I managed to become a full-time greenkeeper after 1 year of my apprenticeship. So I was quite fortunate.
So 2-3 years in, had you decided by then that's the career you want?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I loved being outside. I played a bit of golf as well, which got me involved. Waking up early in the morning and you're seeing the sunrise, and okay, there's days when there's rain and the weather's not that great, but yeah, there was good banter in the shed. It was good. I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Still enjoy it.
So those early days, would you say they kind of gave you the foundation for not only the skills that you brought on, but your style as a manager going forward, or have you, developed from that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I learned a lot back then from John. He had a tendency of staying back, and your youth trainee, you got to finish, I think it was like half an hour earlier than all the rest of the men, just to do with hours. But I'd normally just stay on and finish with the rest of the guys, and of course, like my dad back in the day, he came and picked me up because I lived in the country. I lived about 9-10 miles away. So he would drop me off in the morning and pick me up at night. But there was often that he was waiting for me, and I was in John's office trying to learn a bit more. And of course, John would be telling me about the old days and what they used to do in the old days with turf and stuff like that. So, no, just that back then. Yeah, I was able to get a bit off of John and kind of learn from his leadership, I would say. But there's other guys on the route that I've picked up from people here and there. You know, there's guys all over the UK that, you know, you take a bit out of their book and use it to your own. I've learned loads on the way. Still learning, yeah.
We get through your early years, and then you get a more permanent position. Would that be the right next step for you?
Yeah, so a full-time greenkeeper. I worked on all 3 golf courses. So there's the championship course, of course, and then there's the Burnside and the Budden course. The Burnside, that was an open qualifier in 1953 for Ben Hogan. That was built way back in the early 1900s. And then the Budden was a relatively newer course that was built in early 1980s. I worked on all 3 and just kept working away and kept my head down. And I managed to get a position on the Burnside course as deputy head greenkeeper at that point. And then before the 2007 Open, I was lucky enough to get a position on the championship as deputy head greenkeeper to Sandy Reid, who was the head greenkeeper at that point, who's now at St Andrews. And then when Sandy moved up to Links Superintendent, I managed to become the head greenkeeper on the championship. And then, luckily enough, when Sandy left, I managed to get in the role I am now as Links Superintendent.
So you've worked your way up the ladder there. I think you said to me before we came on camera that, you know, when you first turned up, you looked at a guy that had been there 20, 30 years and thought, I don't want to do that. What went wrong?
I just can't leave.
You're obviously enjoying it, yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy that had been here for 20 years. I wanted to go out and see other golf courses round about. But I love it here. You know, and it's fortunately for me, you know, I've had different roles, so it's not been the same job all the time. You know, it's changed through every part of my route of my career.
And that career's taken in 3 Open championships, which is, I would assume, one of the biggest highlights of your career professionally.
Yeah. The Open, it's for us at Carnoustie, it's always what we're aiming for. You know, that's when one tournament finishes, you're reflecting, then you're aiming for the next one. You know, all your improvements are based towards an Open. And yeah, it's a superb tournament. It's the Open, you know. There's not a lot of greenkeepers get to work in the major tournaments, but to work at the Open, it's superb. You know, just the buzz of the place, having all the top players in the world come and play your golf course. It's a great feeling.
With your particular roles over those 3, has it been 3 different roles for 3 different Opens, or have you been the top man for 2 of them?
Yeah, it has been. So 1999, I was just a greenkeeper. I was cutting the tees, hand cutting the tees for the Open. Had to make sure my lines were straight. 2007, I was deputy to Sandy, so I was hand cutting greens and just doing other things at night, setting up units and things at night. And 2018, it was pretty much overseeing things, doing a lot of work with STRI at the time. Now those guys have moved over to that RNA, but yeah, working with them and just making sure that everything's right for the next day. You know, yeah, it's all been different. Yeah.
So I'm sure the two opens where you weren't kind of responsible for the whole thing were a bonus to you when it came to taking on the big challenge. But what did that feel like when you go, oh cripes, I got an open to organise? Did you feel it was a big challenge? Was it exciting? Was it daunting?
It's all of those. It's well, there's 2018. The plan was to cut fairways every day, but with the drought, we had to miss out cuts. So you're actually thinking of those guys. What can those guys do that makes them feel part of the Open as well? You don't want to just have them just hanging about, but it's different things that you're thinking about, not just the quality of the surfaces and things like that. It's other things. It's there's a lot going on that week, and the lead up to it.
Yeah, and that lead up doesn't just start a few months before. I think it starts a few years before, doesn't it, in terms of getting ready?
Yeah, there's a lot of planning goes into it, and it's not just things on the turf. It's you're looking at contractors' compounds, TV compounds, where grandstands are going. Fibre optics to grandstands or scoreboards, or there's all that as well. And yeah, you have to try and manage all that at the same time, as well as looking after the turf.
And you also get a whole load of extra staff and kit come in that bumps up your responsibilities. So you've got new people to deal with, new numbers of people to deal with.
Yeah, we're quite lucky here that we've got 3 golf courses, so we had enough staff to come in from the other 2 courses. But we did have the open venues. They'll give you like 1 guy each, which helps out. It's a bit of experience for those guys as well. For that have never been involved in a tournament, so it's good to have them on board.
I'm not sure when the next Open is scheduled for Carnoustie. Is there a date on the diary yet or not?
There's nothing yet, but as I said earlier, that's always something we're working towards. We'll be ready when the date's announced. As Peter Dawson said many years ago, he said you can turn up to Carnoustie tomorrow and it's ready to host an Open. So that's a good testament to all the team here. They've got the conditions of the course really, really good.
Well, I think something like over 400 years that there's golf been played in the area of Carnoustie, as far as my research tells me. You got an open course or an open venue, a huge amount of tradition. Does that come with a certain amount of pressure for you, Craig?
It does, yeah, but you try not to think of it like that. You think about other things. Yeah, there is a lot of pressure. You've got, a lot of people coming over, like mainly from America. There's other parts of the world that are coming from. This is a big bucket list for them. You have to provide a great golf course every day for those people that are coming here to play their dream. They're coming here to play St Andrews, Carnoustie, and other venues. This is a big bucket list trip for them. So that's the pressure. You want to provide a course every day for people to come here and make memories.
Looking a bit in terms of the challenges that you've got there in terms of course management and looking after the greens and the fairways, etc. What are the biggest challenges that you face?
Of course, the biggest challenge is the weather. You just cannot predict what the weather's going to do. There's been a bit of flooding recently. A lot of snow leading to flooding. Yeah, so it's just making sure that you're on your toes to what comes in your way. The other biggest challenge that everybody's having just now is the whole coronavirus. And the impact it's having on visitors. We're having to do things differently to try and save money, because the visitor income to Carnoustie and other courses round about is massive. We can't always rely on the local golfer to keep our courses in great shape. And the quality products that we use.
And are you guys faring quite well through, financially in terms of keeping the team together?
Yeah, we're just having to make sure that we're using our money wisely. Always have been, but it's just just making sure we're doing things at the right time. Visitors will come back as soon as all this lifts. We're kind of ready coming back again.
So the 23 years you've been there, I'm sure the courses have all evolved, as has the industry. What are the biggest changes you've seen on your patch?
I would say the technology. Technology is becoming more and more advanced. And with myself going up into a higher role, you're actually seeing technology for the future as well. You're getting the first glimpse of things, and it's quite exciting. Other things that have changed are, I would say, the golfer has changed. They expect more. They want the course in the best condition all the time. They want it in open condition all the time, which is it's a big challenge. And I'm sure there's like smaller golf courses round about and all over the UK. I find that quite tough. It's you're lucky enough to have enough feet on the ground to help out, give them that condition. But yeah, there's other golf courses round about that'll find that quite tough.
And in terms of the courses themselves, have you made any changes since you've taken over? Have you looked at doing things a different way, perhaps?
I wouldn't say there's been drastic change. Just little tweaks here and there. We're always looking at adding things to the course, whether it's spectator mounding, vantage points for spectators, that we can get rid of grandstands in the future and things like that, and just odd little tweaks here and there. It's nothing. I wouldn't say I don't think I need to change things drastically.
Okay.
What we had in place over the years has been very good. From Sandy Reid to John Phillip. The foundations were always there for the courses to be great. There's not a lot needing done to them.
And have you stuck with the same or similar varieties and treatments and processes, or have you honed those?
It's the same thing. There's tweaks here and there. There's different like fertilizers or conditioners that are coming out all the time. So yeah, we have changed. We've chopped and changed. Sometimes you have to find the right product for the course, and products that you think have been the right product. There is always new stuff coming out, so it's always interesting to trial stuff on areas, and that's where we have the bud and burn side. But sometimes trial things out there before we put them on the championship, which is it's good to see. There's positives and negatives, so we're always trying different things.
And in terms of looking forward, short term and longer term, have you got any plans that are either been held back by COVID or are still going forward, perhaps?
Yeah, we've got a few things on the go. We're looking at our irrigation system at the moment, and having a revamp of all three courses here with Rainbird, and that comes with a new pump house and things like that. So we're looking to advance with that. There's other things, just looking at our bits for road network, if they can be enhanced. Other thing we have going on at the moment is we have a wind farm cable coming through the Budden course. So it's a wind farm that's about 20 kilometres out at sea, and the cable's coming on into landfall on the Budden, going through the outside of the Budden. So there's a wee bit of restitution work we have to do there. With that, there's a bit of enhancement to the road network there as well. So yes, we have been held back in some things, but other things we've been able to get on with.
If you look back at your career when it finally comes to an end, when you've done your next 25 years there, perhaps, I don't know, and with Carnoustie, what would you like people to say about you when you've gone? What would you like your legacy to be, perhaps?
I just hope that the golf course is as good as what it was. It's good to get up the golf rankings and course rankings, but yeah, just that we'll have the Open coming back. We're still in the Open venues rota. just things like that. That would be a legacy in itself.
Rather than just kind of Carnoustie and your career, looking at the wider industry, I think you took part in a question time debate with us a few months back. One of the topics we discussed there was attracting new people into the industry. Raising the profile of the turf care industry as a whole is something that's quite front of mind at the moment, with Grounds Week just recently happened. A renewed focus, hopefully, on raising the status of groundsmen and turf care professionals. Do you think there's still a difference between how greenkeepers and people in the golf industry are perceived compared to those at more winter sports and other areas of turf care?
It is about raising our profile a bit more, becoming a bit more professional, and I think we've made great strides over the years. For me, I think we still need to get more into primary schools rather than high schools. It's learning the people when they're a lot younger of what we do, and we're trying to do that in a way with bringing primary schools into the golf course and helping us do stuff, whether it's planting trees or planting wildflowers, and then getting them into the golf and greenkeeping at the same time. I think we need to catch them early, before it's too late. I remember saying on the question time that I was in at a school not long ago, and most of them wanted to be a YouTuber. That if you can make money out of that, then maybe I'm in the wrong job. Yeah, I think we need to get in there and make, I don't know, do we make greenkeeping and being a groundsman cool, or I think we need to look at a different way and introduce it early.
Other challenges that you think the industry's facing? I mean, automation is one that some people see as a threat. Do you see that as a threat or an opportunity?
I would see it as a threat more from how your committee or hierarchy look at that. But being down on the ground, I wouldn't see it as a threat, because you're always needing somebody to operate the autonomous mowers. It sounds good, sending them out to go and cut fairways or cut a football pitch or whatever, but there's twigs, or there's a stone, or there's something in the way. It sounds too easy to go and send it away and just cut something and then come back at the end of the day. You still need people there to operate it. There's a bit of an advantage there. You could be doing other jobs whilst that machine is cutting around that area. You could be raking a bunker or something like that, but you still need somebody there to look after it. So,
Craig, if you could wave a magic wand and just fix one thing in the industry, what would that be?
I think we all need to come together more as greenkeepers, groundsmen. I know that we'll have conferences and things like that, but I think we need to be talking more to each other, especially nowadays with the whole mental health issues, and a lot of people keep things inside, where we should be getting out and talking more to your neighbour, your guy up the road, your guy down the road. I think sometimes as greenkeepers and groundsmen, we keep things inside where we should be talking about things, and it'll maybe resolve a lot of problems.
In terms of people talking, you've been at the forefront of bringing a group of links greenkeepers together, haven't you?
Yeah, so that's something that we talked about for a while. There was myself, Paul Larson at Royal St George's, Ian Kinley at Royal Porthcawl, and Rhys Butler, who's at Royal St David's, and of course Richard Wyman at Burnham and Barrow. We've been talking about this for a while, that we've seen what they've done in Ireland with the Links initiative over there, and I think we just said it was about time that we had something for Links greenkeepers as well, and just get everybody together and just talk a bit more, talk about your problems or things that you're doing that is great, and you can pass on to somebody else. And it's just coming together, having a look at other golf courses, seeing what they're doing, maybe take a few tips from them, or take, it's just little things that we thought we could come together and speak. Unfortunately, with the whole COVID thing, we were supposed to come to Carnoustie. That was last March now, but hopefully we'll get something on the calendar again. We don't want to put something on and feel the guys feel threatened coming to it, with the whole coronavirus going on. So we'll have plans for something else soon. And it's just a coming together of everybody and having a good time and speaking.
I value that immensely, because I think there's no substitute for people getting together and sharing experiences. And I think we can do a certain amount of that over Zoom and over the internet and social media, but there's nothing quite like sitting down and just having a conversation, because things spark up in groups, and you get ideas and inspiration from them, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's like most conferences and things like that. If you go to a conference, you're listening to a speaker, and there's a lot of good educational things out of that. But it's just if you're walking the course and you just get speaking to somebody else, and it's a Scottish guy speaking to a Welsh guy, and just little things. I've got a problem with this. Oh, I've got a problem with that as well. This is how I dealt with it. See how you got on with that. Just little things come out that can maybe help, and it's just a little bit of outpouring as well. Just tell somebody your problems that maybe you've never met before. And it just gets you a little bit of understanding, and you can maybe help them. Maybe you can't help them, but at least you've given them an ear to help listen to them.
You're obviously a guy that's got a wealth of knowledge and a fair degree of passion for your job. And let's hope you have another 25 years or so of success up there at Carnoustie, or wherever the world takes you.
Thank you.